Hello everyone, hope you're having the most wonderful day today. Welcome to the Film Insight channel. For today's video, we're going to discuss even more of the worst hotels featured on Hotel Hell and reveal how they're doing now. So, sit back, relax, and without further ado, let's get right into the content, guys. Monticello Hotel. For a Season 2 episode, Gordon Ramsay heads over to the Monticello Hotel located in Longview, Washington to rescue it from closure. The current owner, Philip Lovingfoss, was first introduced to the place when he was 8 years old since his mom worked there. Working as a bartender at the hotel throughout his early 30s, he fell in love with the owner Annabelle Jewell, who was in her 60s, and they had a long-term relationship. After her sad passing, Lovingfoss inherited the hotel and now runs it with his girlfriend/general manager Ginger, who yet again is 30 years older than him. Oddly, most of the hotel's rooms are unavailable, so they force guests to stay at their motel next door, which they call the North Wing. Clearly needing some help, Lovingfoss calls out to Ramsay and his team for their professional guidance. Upon his eventual arrival, the famous chef is in a state of awe looking at the hotel's size, but notices an assortment of cars thinking it's a car show. Meeting with the receptionist Vanessa, she tells him that every single car in the lot belongs to the owner, which really shocks Ramsay. Shown to his room, Ramsay is brought to the motel instead of the main building and simply refuses to stay there. Finally brought to the room he paid for, he's appalled with the decor and finds out that the furnishings and mattresses came from the owner's home. Vanessa also shows Ramsay the other rooms, which are used as storage for the owner's belongings. Meeting with Lovingfoss and Ginger, they reveal that the hotel is losing close to $35,000 a month and a whopping $400,000 a year. Heading to the restaurant to get some food, the Hotel Hell host is greeted by Debbie, who reveals that the staff have no control over the menu or ingredients used, since Philip is very controlling. That aside, she also exposes the fact that the owner has a horrible drinking problem since he got a DUI the day before. Soon after, the restaurant's chef Dan reveals that the food isn't freshly cooked since all they get is canned, frozen, or pre-packaged food due to the lack of funds. Ramsay was instantly able to tell that what he was eating wasn't made from scratch, and he just sent it back. Holding a staff meeting later on, they all express that Philip's drinking affects their work and they're understaffed and overworked. To get a scope of how deep Philip's issues are, Ramsay tries to confront him about it, but he's just met with denial. Hoping to change the owner's mind on his addiction, the Hotel Hell host plans an intervention with the staff, which ends in Philip walking out. In the end though, Ramsay followed him and got him to admit that he needs some help, convincing him to get treatment for his problem. Making tons of beautiful renovations, the following months after Ramsay left were great since their revenue significantly increased. However, in January of 2014, the owners decided that it would be best to close down the restaurant so they can have time for other projects. This decision disappointed many regulars, resulting in a lot of mixed reviews on Yelp and TripAdvisor alike. A bit more than 2 years later, Philip was sentenced to 90 days in prison for threatening a district court judge, and ultimately the hotel closed down in August of 2019. The hotel was recently purchased, completely revamped, and converted into an apartment building with communal facilities. Angler's Lodge. Visiting the Angler's Lodge in Island Park, Idaho in a Season 3 episode, Gordon Ramsay tries to bring it back on its feet. After seeing a piece of land next to one of the best fishing spots in the area, a married couple named Dave and Dee Dee seized the opportunity to buy it and built a lodge over it. While business was going very well at first, being fully booked almost every night, things went downhill when their son Dalton tragically passed. Falling into a deep depression, Dee Dee decided to stop working completely, leaving her husband to run Anglers on his own. Considering this fact, their revenue has gone down by 25%, which is why they decided to call out to Ramsay for his help. When he finally arrives, Ramsay thinks that the place is gorgeous and is eventually brought to his room by an employee named Sam. Even though Ramsay thinks that the view is breathtaking, the room on the other hand is depressing and uninviting. Heading down to the restaurant to get some food, the famous chef orders some wings, ribeye, and trout. Not only are his wings clearly store-bought, but the ribeye is overcooked and the trout hasn't even been scaled. Soon after, Ramsay gets the shocking revelation that the owners don't even like their chef Gina's cooking, but they take what they can get. On top of this, Dave frequently changes out the chefs, which inevitably leads to inconsistent food quality. Amazed by the fact that they're still open, Ramsay can't comprehend how careless everyone is about the long term. Watching the dinner service, the famous chef is disappointed to discover a collapsed cheesecake in the fridge and a server chewing gum. Both owners completely ignore the issues at hand and don't even know how to take command of their staff. Gathering the staff together the following day, Ramsay tells them about some of the feedback people in the community had, and it wasn't very good. Most feel like Dave and Dee Dee don't know how to deal with or care about customers, which doesn't make them feel welcome. Dave quickly claims that he tries to be friendly with people, but Ramsay highlights that he comes across as assertive and controlling, which gets in the way of their success. Later on, the Hotel Hell host shows the married couple some memories of their family when they originally built a lodge to remind them of the reason why they opened it in the first place. Filling them with nostalgia and the drive to improve, Ramsay was finally ready to start making renovations. Giving the rooms a massive makeover, they were given a rustic feel, and the menu was changed to include easy to make but delicious food. Upon the hotel's eventual relaunch, Ramsay re-invited the locals who had given their feedback and a food critic to show them the new and improved Angler's Lodge. Despite having a very rocky start at the restaurant, the locals seemed to be ecstatic with the food and were impressed with the updated decor. Post-Hotel Hell, the business was doing exceptionally well since the owners fully embraced the changes that were made. Excited for the future, the owners revealed that their passion for the lodge was rekindled thanks to Ramsay's help. On both Yelp and TripAdvisor, the lodge rocks a decent 3.5 stars, with most praising the beautiful view but others complaining about the service quality and cleanliness standards. It's still open to this day, so you can certainly say that Ramsay did a good job with this one. River Rock Inn. In another Hotel Hell episode, Gordon Ramsay heads over to River Rock Inn in Milford, Pennsylvania to prevent it from closing down. Owned by Ken Picciota, who is hopelessly in debt, he was forced to sell his house to keep the inn afloat. Not knowing what else to do, the owner called out to a professional like Ramsay for some guidance. Upon his eventual arrival, Ramsay isn't greeted by anyone and has trouble finding the reception, but soon finds a desk in the hallway, which he later finds out was the check-in desk. Meeting with the assistant innkeeper Karen, she shows him to his room and explains that the hotel was built in the 1880s, which prompts the famous chef to joke about it still having the original decor. Looking around, he finds a closet full of hangers and extra carpeting, as well as dead insects and live cockroaches. Nasty. Additionally, they placed a chair awkwardly in the corner of the room, which is supposedly the spot with the best Wi-Fi reception, leaving Ramsay feeling disappointed. Hoping that his dinner would at least be up to standards since the inn boasts about having an American bistro, Ramsay sits down and scans the menu for a meal. Confused by the selection, Ramsay can't even start to understand why they have a mix of Mexican, Thai, and Italian dishes instead of local ones. Ordering a collection of different things, the famous chef thinks that the food is uninspired and tastes awful. Following his lackluster meal, Ramsay gathers the staff and is revealed that the rooms are in the state that they're in because Picciota is too lazy to check them. Apparently, their head chef Seth has been cooking for over 18 years, but he's restricted by the owner's menu since he's very stubborn about changing it. After a long day, Ramsay decides to get some shut-eye, but cautiously scans his bed with a black light for any stains. Horrifically finding tons of bodily fluids on the sheets, he decides to sleep in a sleeping bag instead. We don't blame him. The following day, Ramsay shows the disgusting sheets to Picciota and the general manager, comparing the inn to a brothel. Soon after, he gets the staff to deep clean the building while Ramsay brings all the sheets to a dry cleaner. Calling the staff to his room later on, he gets them to meet with some of the guests who aren't very happy with their experience. Some of their complaints included having clogged bath drains, finding tons of bug corpses, and hating the uncomfortable spring bed. Saying that they wouldn't come back, the owner, who was clearly hurt by these comments, quickly apologizes and realizes that he needed to change. Ready to start renovating, Ramsay made tons of improvements to the rooms, including giving them modern televisions, comfortable mattresses, and welcoming decor. What's more, they finally received a better Wi-Fi router, an actual reception desk, a dining area, and a beautiful website. Post-Hotel Hell, the reviews for the inn were very mixed, with many complaining about the food quality and wait times, though others were happy with the nicer decor. Ultimately though, the inn closed down in December of 2014, but was bought and reopened, then renamed to Laurel Country Inn. Well, that'll be all for today's video here on the channel. I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to drop a massive like down below and comment your thoughts. Subscribe for more content like this and turn on those sweet bell notifications for instant access to our content. Have a good one, guys.